The moment they realize who you are, who you really are, something shifts. Some people can't help but stare. Others get uncomfortable, almost nervous, as if they're standing too close to something sacred. And then there are those who don't even try to hide it. The envy, the resentment, the awe. Because when you're chosen by God, people react in ways you never expected. Some will try to bring you down. Others will cling to you, hoping to catch even a glimpse of the favor on your life. Today we're breaking down the 9 ways people respond when they recognize you as God's chosen one. Pay close attention, because you might start seeing these reactions everywhere. The first and perhaps most striking behavior is sudden distancing. Without explanation, people begin to pull away. They avoid eye contact, minimize conversations, and reduce interactions. You may find yourself wondering, why? What changed? But the truth is, it's not about you personally. It's about the energy you carry. Your presence, charged with purpose and intensity, disrupts the status quo. People sense something different about you, something beyond their comprehension. This shift in energy is unsettling, forcing them to confront aspects of themselves they'd rather keep hidden. Whether they realize it or not, your alignment with your higher calling triggers an internal response in them, one of discomfort, uncertainty, or even fear. Imagine you've always been part of a tight-knit group of friends, sharing experiences and common interests. Then, as you begin walking in your true purpose, you notice invitations dwindle. Conversations that once flowed effortlessly now feel forced. What was once familiarity now feels like distance. It's not personal, it's energetic. Your transformation highlights their stagnation, and rather than rise with you, many will choose to step back. In the workplace, this phenomenon becomes even more apparent. The same colleagues who once engaged in easy camaraderie now seem distant. You might notice fewer greetings, shorter conversations, or even an unspoken tension in the air. Why? Because when your energy shifts, people either rise to meet it or retreat from it, and most will retreat. Here's what you must remember. This distancing is not rejection, it's recognition. Your growth, your presence, your light. It's all being noticed, even when it makes others uncomfortable, even when it shakes the environment around you. It's not a sign that something is wrong, it's a sign that you are elevating. So, don't let it discourage you. Instead, let it confirm that you are stepping into your purpose. The chosen path is never the easy one, but it is the one that leads to true fulfillment. Stay focused, keep rising, and pay attention to the signs, because they tell you everything you need to know. The second behavior people exhibit when they recognize you as the chosen one is offering things for free. At first glance, it might seem like simple generosity, but over time, this pattern can feel unexpected, even unsettling. Picture this. You walk into a coffee shop, ready to enjoy a quiet moment, when the barista suddenly insists this coffee is on the house. Or perhaps you're browsing in a bookstore, and the attendant unexpectedly gives you a discount without you even asking. Maybe you're in a clothing store, and the salesperson throws in an accessory as a gift. Or at a beauty salon, you receive an extra service at no charge. These gestures, while seemingly kind, leave you wondering, why? What did I do to deserve this? The truth is, people sense something in you, something different, something rare. It's not just about politeness, it's about recognition. Your energy carries a presence that draws people in, making them want to be close to you. When people start offering things for free, it's often their subconscious way of expressing admiration. They may not fully understand what it is about you that stands out, but they feel it. And by giving, they hope to connect with you, to be a part of your world, even in the smallest way. You'll notice these gestures aren't extended to just anyone. When people recognize your uniqueness, they instinctively want to offer favors, gifts, or exclusive invitations, things they wouldn't typically give so freely. They want to share in your journey, to be there when you rise, believing that being close to you might in some way elevate them as well. Over time, this can become overwhelming. Perhaps you just want to be treated normally without the weight of unspoken expectations. You might start hearing phrases like, "Let me cover that for you," or "Don't forget about me," when you're even more successful. While many of these actions come from a good place, some carry an underlying hope of securing a place in your future. This is why boundaries are essential. Accepting these offerings can lead to new opportunities, but it can also create an unspoken obligation, a feeling that something is owed in return. If the generosity begins to feel excessive or uncomfortable, it's okay to politely decline. Stand firm in your choices, accepting what aligns with your values and gracefully refusing what doesn't. Above all, remember this: people are drawn to you for a reason. Your presence holds value. While appreciation for this recognition is natural, maintaining your independence is crucial. Accept kindness when it feels right, but never feel pressure to reciprocate beyond what is genuine for you. By staying grounded in who you are, you can navigate these interactions with confidence and clarity, ensuring that your unique presence is respected, admired, and never taken advantage of. The third behavior people exhibit when they recognize you as the chosen one is jealousy, disguised as support. As you begin to stand out, you'll notice something subtle yet significant. Some people around you will appear to cheer you on, but beneath their words, there's an undercurrent of doubt, hesitation, or even quiet resistance. At first, they celebrate your achievements. They smile, they congratulate you, but then, almost imperceptibly, their tone shifts. They begin to question if you're really prepared for the challenges ahead. They caution you about risks that suddenly seem bigger than before. They plant small seeds of uncertainty, making you second-guess choices that once felt so clear. It's subtle, almost harmless, but over time the weight of these interactions becomes exhausting. Their words are wrapped in concern, even wisdom, yet beneath the surface, there's an unspoken message. Are you sure you can handle this? Maybe you're moving too fast. Maybe this isn't for you. This isn't encouragement. This is veiled doubt, a quiet attempt to tether you to their comfort zone instead of celebrating your expansion. You'll hear things like, "That's amazing, but do you think you're really ready? I support you, but maybe you should be careful. You don't want to set yourself up for failure. I love what you're doing, but isn't this path a little too difficult?" It's never direct negativity. It's passive discouragement wrapped in the illusion of support. This kind of disguised jealousy is dangerous, not because it's openly hostile, but because it slowly erodes confidence. It makes you hesitate. It introduces a sense of self-doubt that was never there before. And if you don't recognize it, it can subtly influence your mindset, making you question the very journey you were once so certain about. Protecting yourself from this energy is essential. Pay attention to how support makes you feel. True support elevates you. It inspires, it encourages, it fuels your momentum. False support, on the other hand, leaves you feeling unsure, like you need to justify yourself, like you're being pulled back instead of pushed forward. Not everyone who claps for you wants to see you win, and not every word of advice is meant to help you grow. Learn to distinguish between genuine encouragement and masked insecurity. Surround yourself with those who truly celebrate you, without hesitation, without reservation, and without hidden motives. Because when your light shines, it exposes the shadows in others, and those who aren't ready to face their own limitations will always try to dim yours. The fourth behavior that can become overwhelming is people's constant need to be near you once they recognize who you truly are. As your energy elevates and radiates positivity, you begin to attract people in a way that feels almost magnetic. They can't explain it, but they feel drawn to you, compelled to be in your presence, to listen to your words, or simply to stand near you. This isn't just casual interest, it's something deeper, something almost instinctual. Think of biblical figures like Moses. People gathered around him, seeking guidance, believing that proximity to him meant proximity to divine wisdom. Or Elisha, whom people sought for prophecies, hoping his presence would bring them answers. In the same way, you may find that people, without even realizing it, are pulled toward you, sensing something in you that they themselves lack. Imagine walking into a room just wanting to keep to yourself, and before you know it, people gravitate toward you, initiating conversations or lingering in your space, even in moments of solitude. At a cafe, at a social event, or simply out for a walk, you notice that others instinctively move closer, as if drawn by an invisible force. This attraction isn't just admiration, it's a search for something. People sense a presence in you, an energy they want to absorb. Just like Bartimaeus calling out to Jesus from the crowd, believing that even a moment in his presence could change his life, those around you may feel that being near you will somehow uplift them, bless them, or give them clarity. But while this can be flattering, it can also become suffocating. The constant attention, the lack of personal space, it can feel like your peace is being invaded. Some may try to touch you, follow your movements, or cling to your words, hoping that just by being near you, they will receive something of value. This is why boundaries are crucial. While it's a gift to carry such an energy, it's also a responsibility. You must learn to balance people's desire to connect with you and your own need for solitude and restoration. You cannot pour into others if your own well runs dry. People may see your light, but it is up to you to protect it. Set limits, reclaim your space, and ensure that the energy you give is intentional, not drained by those who seek you without understanding the weight of what they ask for. Because at the end of the day, being chosen isn't just about attracting people, it's about knowing when to step back, recharge, and move forward with purpose. The fifth behavior that can be incredibly frustrating is jealousy that manifests as rejection, an irrational, almost instinctive response when people realize that you are the chosen one. This jealousy isn't always obvious at first. It can come from friends, acquaintances, or colleagues, people who once seemed supportive. Then, seemingly out of nowhere, they become distant, cold, dismissive. You find yourself wondering, did I do something wrong? But the truth is, you did nothing. This rejection isn't based on anything you said or did. It's rooted in their own insecurity, their struggle to accept that you are stepping into something greater while they remain stagnant. To compensate, they try to diminish you, making themselves feel superior by pushing you away. One moment, everything is normal. The next, they treat you as if you are beneath them. They no longer acknowledge your achievements. They act as though your presence is an inconvenience. And the most confusing part? If you try to address it, you only feed their illusion of power. This pattern is nothing new. Joseph's brothers resented him not because of any wrongdoing on his part, but because they couldn't stand the idea that he was favored, that he had a destiny greater than theirs. Their jealousy drove them to betray him. Likewise, King Saul despised David, not because David wronged him, but because Saul saw something in him that he lacked: favor, strength, divine purpose. His jealousy turned into an obsession, pushing him to destroy the very person who had been loyal to him. These same dynamics still play out today. People who struggle with their own self-worth may not openly admit their envy, but they will act on it. They will try to pull you down to their level because if they can't rise, they don't want you to either. This is the behavior of emotional vampires, people who drain your energy in an attempt to fill their own emptiness. They subtly hope for your failure because it reassures them that they are not falling behind. They watch for your mistakes, not out of concern, but because it gives them relief from their own insecurities. The sixth highly irritating behavior you may face when people recognize that you are the chosen one is intentional ignorance. Unlike open rejection, this is a subtle yet deliberate strategy designed to shake your confidence while allowing the other person to feel superior. This isn't accidental, it's calculated. When someone chooses to ignore you, they are making a conscious effort to downplay your presence, your achievements, and your impact. They do this not because you lack value, but because your success unsettles them. They fear your growth, they feel threatened by your light, and rather than openly compete with you, they use silence as a weapon. Avoiding your messages, pretending to be too busy, or conveniently ignoring your accomplishments on social media. Imagine a colleague who, despite knowing the success of your project, never acknowledges it, even as others celebrate it. Or an acquaintance who, despite seeing you achieve a major milestone, refuses to mention it when you meet. Completing a course, launching a new venture, receiving an award, none of it is acknowledged. They make a point of pretending it didn't happen. It's not that they didn't notice, they noticed. But their response is intentional. It's a tactic designed to make you question your significance, to plant doubt in your mind about whether your achievements really matter. What makes this behavior even more insidious is that it's always paired with a false display of self-importance. You'll notice that after ignoring you, they suddenly make a point of showcasing their own accomplishments, demonstrating how busy or successful they are. This isn't coincidence, it's an attempt to undermine your confidence while inflating their own image. This kind of calculated silence is not harmless. It's toxic. It stems from a deep insecurity, a fear that acknowledging you means diminishing themselves. These people cannot celebrate the success of others without feeling threatened, so instead, they pretend your success doesn't exist. The seventh irritating behavior people exhibit when they realize you have something special is their constant need to showcase their own achievements. Suddenly, every conversation becomes a performance. You'll notice that certain people feel compelled to highlight their successes whenever they're around you. It's no longer just casual updates, it's a calculated display. They'll mention their new home renovation, the exclusive event they were invited to, the luxury purchases they just made, or the bonus they received at work. They'll drop in details about their upcoming lavish vacations, their connections to important people, or their latest big win. At first you might think they're just sharing, but over time it becomes clear this isn't just conversation, it's competition. Even if you remain kind, supportive, and genuinely happy for them, their real intent is not to share, it's to outshine. They want to match your energy or surpass it. It's as if they feel the need to prove that they too are just as significant, just as successful, just as chosen as you. And here's the most frustrating part. When you try to share something positive about your life, they barely react. They might brush it off, change the subject, or give you a half-hearted response because their focus isn't on mutual celebration. It's on keeping the spotlight firmly on themselves. This incessant need to boast is more than just insecurity. It's an unspoken attempt to compete with you while refusing to acknowledge your value. Instead of openly admitting that they recognize something special in you, they try to drown it out by amplifying their own successes. It's a subtle yet persistent battle for attention, one driven by a deep desire to be seen as just as important, just as accomplished, just as significant as you. The eighth irritating behavior people exhibit when they realize you have been chosen is underestimating your abilities or minimizing your achievements. Instead of recognizing the value of what you've accomplished, they downplay it. They dismiss your hard work. They act as if your success is nothing special. You might share an important milestone, perhaps a major breakthrough at work, completing a difficult course, or launching a successful project, and instead of celebrating with you, they respond with subtle but cutting remarks. "Oh, you just got lucky. That's not really a big deal. Anyone could have done that. Well, I did something similar a while ago, and it wasn't that hard." Their goal? To make your success seem smaller, to strip away the significance of what you've achieved so they don't have to acknowledge it. This behavior is even more frustrating when they immediately redirect the conversation to themselves. You mention an accomplishment and suddenly they're talking about their own experiences, shifting the focus away from you as if your achievement is nothing in comparison. This isn't just dismissiveness, it's a quiet, passive form of competition. They can't openly celebrate you because deep down your growth makes them feel inadequate. So instead, they try to diminish what you've done to maintain their own sense of superiority. But here's the truth, their words don't change your worth, their doubts don't change your impact. The Bible offers a classic example of this with David and Goliath. When David stepped forward to fight Goliath, no one believed in him. King Saul doubted him. His own brothers mocked him. They saw only his youth, his inexperience, his background as a shepherd. But David didn't let their doubts define him. He knew his strength. He knew his calling. And with a single stone, he proved them all wrong. Just like David, you will encounter people who underestimate you. People who try to reduce your greatness to something ordinary, but their disbelief has no power over your destiny. The ninth and final frustrating behavior you may encounter when people realize you are the chosen one is being blamed for their problems. This one can be particularly painful because it often comes from those closest to you, a partner, a friend, a family member, people you care about. Suddenly, when things go wrong in their lives, when they face challenges they can't solve, when they refuse to take responsibility, you become the scapegoat. A disagreement happens and somehow it's all your fault, even when your actions had nothing to do with it. You offer a simple suggestion and somehow you become the reason for their frustration. They twist your words, manipulate the situation, and shift the blame onto you, not because you are at fault, but because you are an easy target. Why does this happen? Because your presence is strong, your energy is undeniable, and when people struggle with their own failures, insecurities, or lack of direction, they project those emotions onto you. They may say things like, "If it weren't for you, I wouldn't have made this mistake. You always think you know everything. You don't support me enough, that's why things aren't working out." But the truth is, it was never about you. These people refuse to face their own shortcomings, so they turn their frustrations outward. Blaming you is easier than admitting their own mistakes. This kind of behavior is common in those who struggle with low self-esteem. Instead of working on themselves, they try to bring you down to their level. They resent your confidence, your progress, your strength, so they attempt to undermine you in order to feel better about themselves. A clear biblical example of this is Joseph's brothers. They resented him not because he had wronged them, but because his favor, his dreams, and his destiny reminded them of their own limitations. Instead of dealing with their jealousy, they blamed him for their feelings and sought to destroy him. This is how blame shifting works. It's not about facts, it's about avoidance. They don't want to face their own flaws, so they make you the problem. Being recognized as someone set apart comes with both honor and challenge. While it is fulfilling to be noticed for your unique energy and purpose, it can also draw envy, silent competition, and even unwarranted criticism. Many around you may not fully understand what sets you apart, and as a result, their reactions may range from admiration to resistance. But here's what you must remember. Their response is not a reflection of you, it is a reflection of them. Their struggles, their insecurities, their doubts, those are theirs to carry, not yours. Your role is not to shrink to make them comfortable, but to stand firm in who you are. Set boundaries where needed, move with grace but with certainty, welcome the opportunities that come with your calling, but do not allow negativity to weigh you down. Your journey is significant, your presence holds meaning, and your light, whether it is celebrated or challenged, is undeniable. To those of you who share this calling, I invite you to share your experiences, not just as personal stories, but as testimonies of the divine work taking place in your life. Let your words serve as encouragement for others who are walking this path. Embrace this calling with humility, but also with boldness. You are not just another voice in the divine narrative, you are one of its most important narrators. May your journey be filled with clarity, strength, and unwavering faith, and may your light inspire others to awaken to their own divine purpose.